Hello, it's Mrs. Croteau again. So today, your job is going to be making sure you have big idea sentences. I wanted to show you kind of an overview of what you need in an informational paragraph, okay? Basically, let me pull this up. When you're writing an informational essay, it's going to be multiple paragraphs, okay? And the goal is that each paragraph has its own basically topic sentence. We call it the big idea sentence. It's basically the same thing. The reason we give it a different name is that typically when you're thinking of a topic sentence, I'll scroll up here. You're thinking of a topic sentence, you're thinking more about like the introduction paragraph, the very, very first paragraph. And notice it says you need a topic sentence to introduce what your essay will be about. Which brings me to my first point, by the way. You don't have a topic sentence for the whole writing assignment yet. That is another thing you may want to try to do today. The topic sentence that goes in the very first introduction paragraph, like I said, introduces the whole assignment. So you want to give your reader an overview. What will my whole essay, article, book be about? In this case, we're focusing on an article. And obviously, you know, the history of spice is really what the whole thing's about. But you've got to put it into a sentence, and you've got to let your reader know what to expect, kind of like a movie preview. You know, you don't want to give away the whole thing. You don't want to give too much detail. You want to give just enough detail that they're interested. But a big idea sentence is actually very similar. So if you look at the first body paragraph, after you've done like an introduction, you go into your body paragraph, and first it says, how many sentences do I need? I need 4, okay? What kinds of sentences do I need? I need 1 big idea sentence and 3 pieces of evidence. So what is my big idea sentence? It is basically the topic sentence of that paragraph. It gives an overview of the main idea of this specific paragraph. So it's actually almost exactly the same as the original topic sentence we were just talking about. The difference is it's now getting smaller and it's focusing just on this paragraph, not the whole essay. So your job today is to make sure you have a big idea sentence for each of your paragraphs. Most of you already did your body paragraph 1, big idea sentence, I noticed, but a lot of you didn't do it for body paragraph 2, and some of you are writing 3 paragraphs and you didn't have one yet for that. So I want you to write your big idea sentences. Again, the big idea sentence tells us what is this paragraph about. So what I remember, I'm going to show you my other screen. There are 2 different note takers most people are using. If you were in Mrs. Yamamoto's group working on this assignment, this was the note taker you were in. You should have written a big idea sentence with her and 3 pieces of evidence. So you should have 4 sentences in here. If you don't, then we need to figure out why. My hope is that if you have anything, you've got this one. The evidence sentences are actually pretty easy to find if you've highlighted. But your big idea, if for some reason you don't have this and you're in Mrs. Yamamoto's group, then you would write it here. If you are done with that and we're in Mrs. Yamamoto's group, then you're going to move on to this one. And you're only going to focus on that right now. Writing your trade and business big idea. Like I said, if you don't have a big idea statement for this blue section, though, you're going to need both. So just look and see, do I have my big idea sentence? Do I have my evidence? Oh, I do? Great. Okay, now I'm going to move on to this one. But you might be thinking, well, what if I didn't use this note taker? Okay, well, on the note taker you have, do you have a big idea sentence? So here's another one of my note takers. It's complicated when we're coming from 3 different classes. And if you're using this one, it would just be the first sentence of your paragraph. Because remember, the structure of these paragraphs is a big idea sentence, and evidence, evidence, evidence. That's the order of our sentences, and you repeat it for each paragraph, so it's a structure. So it would just be the first sentence that you write in the box. Now, and then of course, again, here for body paragraph 2. I do know some of you were using a note taker that Miss Mittag had that looks slightly different. I think she already gave you your big ideas. So if you were in her class, you might already be done with those. So just make sure, because I believe your note taker with Miss Mittag, let's find it, looked like this. Yeah, see, she gave you the big idea already. So if you're in Miss Mittag, guess you're done. Unless you didn't do this page and you had to go into Miss Yamamoto's group, then you're going to have to catch up because you didn't do it during class time with Miss Mittag. So no matter what note taker you have, this one or this one or the original one that I was showing you, oh my gosh, too many different tabs, or this one, you are going to need a big idea sentence. It doesn't matter which group you're in, what teacher you're coming from. So how do I make one? Okay, well, one of the things that I actually really enjoy is looking at sentence starters, because I know that it needs to be a topic of that paragraph. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to go into my sentence starters page here. And I did send this to most of you in your literacy helpful posters tab. If you are in Miss Yamamoto's group, there's actually sentence starters for you already at the bottom of your note taker page. Okay. And so I'm going to come down here to body paragraph 1. And if I haven't written a big idea sentence for that, look, I gave you one to be nice and give you some help. It says, do you want to know more about how spices were used? So one of the ways you can write a big idea sentence is asking a question. It's kind of a way to like talk to the person who's reading your paper and say, hey, are you interested? And you want to try to sell what it is you're writing and talking about, right? You could even do something like, do you want to know, or if you're interested in how spices were used, read more. It's a way for you to hook them because it's very much like a topic again. It's very, very similar. So a question is one way. Another way is, here's some other sentence starters. You could just say, the second thing we're going to talk about today is blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to say what that is because you have to know the topic of that section. Big hint, it's right here. Right? You could say another important fact this essay will talk about is, this paragraph will discuss. You're just telling them what you're going to talk about. Now, there are interesting ways to do that and less interesting ways. If you just say this paragraph is about blank, it works. Is it the most interesting sentence ever? No, not really. So that's what makes a really good writer, is how can you find a way to introduce the big idea and make it interesting. So to summarize, your job is to make sure you have a big idea sentence for body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 1 is about the uses of spices. So you want to make sure that you're telling me something about how spices were used here. Not a fact, just letting the reader know this paragraph will be about how spices were used. You can say it exactly that way, or you can get a little more creative and try to write it in your way. Okay? But you want the reader to know what's to come. Single sentence usually is pretty good for that. Okay? Then, paragraph 2, again, big idea sentence. These are some sentence starters. Are they all of the sentence starters that exist? No, there are other ones you could use. But it helps you get an idea if you're stuck. And then you're just going to keep it short and simple and make sure that you mention what this paragraph is about, which is trade and business. If you are writing a third, then the same thing again, but now we're thinking about power. And only the kids that started with me that are black level on up, I think, are doing a third. Maybe a couple from Miss Mittag's. Same thing. I'd recommend, don't have like this, if you have a sentence starter, maybe like you did a question on body paragraph 1, don't do the same sentence starter for all 3 big ideas, because then it gets really repetitive. So you want to try to mix it up a little bit. You might be thinking, well, I don't have my evidence yet. It's okay. Some teachers teach you to do evidence first and then the big idea. I actually like doing big idea first. It helps me stay focused. What is my goal? Oh, my goal is let the reader know about trade and business. Yes. Okay, that's my big idea. Talking about trade and business, and then I can go back to the text and focus. Trade, business, trade, business. So I like doing big idea first for all of it, actually. Helps me keep myself organized. So you need to make sure you have a big idea for each paragraph. If you've already done that, you're done, I guess. The next step will end up being making sure we've got our evidence. Okay? So get your big idea sentences done. They're just telling you what the paragraph's about. Short and simple with a sentence starter. Okay? I know that sometimes it's a little tricky. So just watch this twice if you need to watch it twice. That's okay. Or message me if you want me to check it. Okay? So get your big ideas done today, and then next we will work on the evidence stuff. Okay, thanks.